Our next speaker comes to us from Enrollment Resources, Sterling Simpson. And I got to say thank you to Sterling. Yes, yesterday he had the initiative from his company to offer a boot camp. And it was something that was offered for free to administration, marketing people with the various colleges. There was pretty good take-up on it. I believe about 9 people participated, and that it was a great opportunity for us to have a little value added to the conference and we really appreciate that. I heard some good feedback on it, and I know the objective is do we have more clients down the road, but whatever, So anyways, next up here is Sterling Simpson, Enrollment Resources, and it's all yours.
Hi, thank you everybody. Today we're going to be talking about how to increase your online marketing performance through conversion optimization. So before I get started, does anyone not know what conversion optimization is in this audience? Yeah. Okay, so it's just, most people know what it is. Does anyone know what it is and want to give a try of guessing what conversion optimization is? Anyone at all? Okay, well I'll cover that anyway. So just get through these first few slides. It talks about our company. We've been around since 2003. That's really all you need to know. I don't need to plug us too much. So we're just going to jump right into it. Conversion rate optimization, also known as conversion optimization. What it really is the first thing you got to know before we get into that is that a conversion rate is defined on a website. There's different types of conversion rates. On a website, it's the amount of visitors that turn into leads. That's straightforward math. If you have 100 visitors come to your website and you got 5 leads, it's 5% conversion rate. And that could also be applied to any part of a school. So it doesn't have to be a website. It could be your paid search. It could be to your admissions, which is conversion rate of students. Conversion rate goes into all gambits of the school and the school industry. And when you focus on conversions, it's really looking at your bottom line and trying to improve that. And that's what conversion rate optimization is. So the whole goal of conversion rate optimization for this speech is going to be about online marketing. So what you want to do when you're optimizing a website is you want to increase your inquiries. It's pretty straightforward. If you had 5 inquiries out of 100 people, you want 6 or 7 or 8. And every incremental increase you could have creates quite a lot more revenue, which we'll get to in a bit. So as schools generate more leads without spending more through conversion optimization, that's where you get more revenue. Because a lot of schools, when they need more leads, they say, spend more on AdWords, spend more on this, do more marketing. And rather than spend more, what you want to do is improve your current conversion rate. So you take the amount of people you have now who are inquiring and make it higher without spending more. So the best way to do that is what we're going to get to in this, is through split testing. So what you want to do is test towards improving your conversion rate, and then when you get a better conversion rate, test again, and never stop testing, because you always want to be moving forward. You never want to be static, because a website or any web properties that say static get behind. Within a year or two, what was best practice is no longer best practice. So you have to be moving forward through testing and optimization that's ongoing. So I'm actually going to show you some real tests that we've done over the years, but before getting there, I want to go over testing methodology so you understand what real split testing is. So what we mainly focus on is A/B testing. And that's where you have 2 versions of a page. Your control, which is the existing website, so you take your current website, and then what you want to do is think of a change that internally or that you read online or whatever it came from that you think will improve conversion rate. And you test that by sending half your traffic to version B, half your traffic to version A. And then with statistical models that are all online, or you could use software to do this, or I did it myself in the past using Excel, you could determine how significant the results are. So you have a larger sample size, you have a higher degree of significance, and you want to target like 95 or 99 degree of confidence that version A or B is better than the other one. So for these ones that I'll be showing you, we're tracking visitor to lead conversion. So it's, again, websites and paid search, how many visitors turn into leads. And the most important thing I feel about split testing is you want to understand what you want to learn from the test. So you set up a test and you might change a color, you might change copy, you might change an image, whatever you're changing, you want to be able to say at the end of it, you want to have a hypothesis that at the end of this, if this is successful or if the B wins, this is what I learned. So you could have some sort of knowledge base and have it documented. This is the learning from this. Not only that we know this page is better, but this is better for this reason of X, Y, Z. And that's how you start to build a knowledge base of learning and really take the first step towards having really highly optimized content and websites. So I'm going to start showing actual real tests. I'm going to ask you guys to put up your hands on which ones you think won, and I'll show you which ones won and show you why we believe they won. The interesting thing about split testing is when you have a successful test, you really don't know the reason why it won. You might know what variables cause it, but there is always a little underlying thing that you might not fully understand, and that's okay. It's really just to understand like what you were testing, what won, and then you could hypothesize on the reason and the psychology behind it and all of that. So this is the first test I'm going to show you guys, and so this is a basic A/B split test. And what we're looking at here is, this is paid search traffic. So this is from Google AdWords going to a landing page. And so the first landing page is version A, so that's the control. And the control is showing two contact forms. You have this one here and this one down here. They're the same call to action. They're just putting the contact form on there twice. And then you have version B, which just has one contact form. All the content is identical. And that's something that's very important about split testing. You want to try to make all the variables that you change minimal so you could actually say that that variable made the change. So everything else has to be identical for a true split test. So a show of hands, who thinks version A got more leads? Who thinks version B got more leads? Okay, it's interesting. People who picked B, why do you think it got more leads?
Shorter. Yeah.
Anyone have anything else to say? Well, the actual results are that version B did win. And it actually produced 58.9% more conversions than version A. We actually got to a full 100% degree of confidence, which isn't rare, but it's not absolute that you'll get there. So with the sample size of data, this produced 101 leads to the other one producing 62 leads. So that was conclusive. It outperformed, it won. Now the question is why? And that's the thing we don't know for sure. We know that one contact form is better. Why is it better? Like what we hypothesize is, like you said, this is shorter. This is shorter, but also this seems a little more desperate, right? The call to action was there once, and you didn't click on it or didn't engage with it. So let's ask again. It's just like you're begging them, like, come on, really. So we don't know for sure, but that's sort of what we feel, and that's not really important. What's important is that we know the fact that one was better than two. And so this also speaks to like a further test that I would do, and that's a great thing about split testing. You complete a test, and you think about, how can I change that? So what I would do is try this again with B being the control, because we know B is better now, so it becomes the best practice. And so the new test I do is two different call to actions. So having two of them, but they're different. Asking for different things, asking for different levels of commitment. Now, with that increased lead flow, because it's not just the same thing over again, it's become a lead or apply online or something else. Like you're asking for two different, completely different things. And so that's a great thing about split testing is when you complete a test, you learn something, but you're like, man, let's try something else. And it always builds other future tests that you could do. So we do this very rudimentary financial implication calculation. Assuming this landing page was producing 100 leads a month beforehand, and that's a huge budget. Like that's spending a lot of money for one landing page. But just assume that, or assume all your paid search landing pages were producing 100 leads a month, and you had two contact forms. This school, hypothetical school, switches it to one contact form, and they see that 58% increase, almost 59% increase in leads. So that would be 59 extra leads a month at a 7% enrollment rate, which is a modest enrollment rate, and a $12,000 tuition. That school makes almost $600,000 more dollars by changing that one thing. So that's the power of conversion optimization, is that these incremental changes could increase lead flow without spending more, and then you have more revenue. So this one here, version A, no video. You can't see it here, sadly, but the version A is no video. Version B is a video that loads, and you see the interaction, all that stuff. So who thinks version A outperformed version B? Now, who thinks version B won? Okay, of the version B winners, what reason do you believe it won? Engaging, interactive. Version A, why do you think it won?
Less time invested.
Well, it's interesting because B did actually win. The one thing I'll say though is when you do tests, we don't do them in a silo. So this test was actually done on multiple schools' websites before we say this is a best practice. Because one thing someone might be able to argue is this is a Cosmos school. Maybe Cosmos schools, the people are more expressive and they're more open to video, or they want that more. They want more of a visual thing. So when you have Cosmos schools, I could make a conclusion that this helped this school, and if I do this with 3 or 4 Cosmos schools and I was able to prove it out over and over again, then I could prove that this works for all Cosmos schools. But for me to say this works for all schools, I'd have to do a gambit of different schools, different types of schools, to be able to say, okay, at the end of the day, this works for all schools. So that's another thing about split testing is sometimes people draw conclusions too early. You have a successful test, you need to replicate it. You need to replicate multiple times, and you need to replicate it with different types of schools, and then you could say, yes, this is an absolute best practice that we could make the change for everyone and feel with, what degree of competence did this one have? I don't see it here. 92 or something? That with whatever degree of confidence you have is how you could feel making those changes. So again, this is a more modest one, but 26% improvement in conversion rate. This is a homepage, so assuming this website homepage was getting 100 leads per month, the 7% conversion and the $12,000 in tuition, you're looking at $262,000 extra revenue. Again, for the school switching over to video than a static image. So split testing does not have to just be A/B. A/B tests are the easiest to do, they're easiest to draw conclusions from, but it doesn't have to be an A/B test. You could do multivariate tests, or you could do A/B/C/D tests. So I'm going to show an example of an A/B/C/D test. So when you're doing multiple versions, what you want to do is make sure they all have the same change. So an A/B/C/D test, or however letters you want to go, the pages have to be identical in every way. You just want to have the one change be the same change on every page. So again, you have a true test, plus the conclusion you could draw is that this is the one change that caused that improvement. So, and I say ideally here, every element, because I've seen people do tests where they change 2 elements and do it like that. And it's still a good test, but it's hard to have the same degree of confidence when there's multiple changes, because you want to be able to come with one conclusion at the end of the test, not saying this overall page is better, which is still of value, but it's more valuable to say this overall page is of value because of these specific tests, so you could draw more conclusions. So, and again, traffic has to be evenly distributed to all versions of a true split test. So as long as these above conditions are met, then you have pretty much all the same methodology as a normal A/B test. So I'll show you, this is an A/B/C/D test we did. There's 4 versions of this. There's the first version, which is saying, is the school right for you? The second version mentions a program name and says get certified in 11 days. The third school says get certified quickly. And sorry, the third copy. And the fourth one says quick and convenient courses. So show of hands, who thinks version A won? All right, version B? C? And then D. Okay, I want to hear reasons for this. So we'll go backwards. So who put your hands up for D? Who thinks, what's the reason you think D won? Anyone?
Quick and convenient, it really wraps it up.
What you're getting is 2 benefits right there. Quick and convenient. And there's also the course name in there, which is always good. You're being specific. Okay, version C. Who said they liked C? What reason do you have for that? Okay. And one thing I like about C is it is, again, it's saying certified, so you got that strong term in there. It's also quickly is a great sign point. It's a feature. So there's 2 great reasons for that. Okay, B. Did anyone put their hand up for B? Yeah, so B, you're getting specifics. So it's 11 days, which is a specific, which is great. And then A, did anyone put their hand for A? Okay, and A, is A equals right for you. Now that one I think is interesting because I've had people when I'm doing this before put their hand up and say, isn't it almost negative? Like, why would it not be right for me? Saying, is this right for you, is implying that it's possibly not right for you. So it's almost like it's detrimental in a way. So at the end of the day, version B1 by 40% over the control. And it's sort of interesting because version C1, sorry about that, 40% over control. Version B got 8%, version D got 13.6%. So in essence, all three of these outperformed the original. So at the end of the day, they're all successful, but you could go with the one that outperformed. For me, I personally, like this one here, you're getting very specific. Version C is actually, sorry, that's a mistake there. It's B and C are switched there. I can't believe that happened. So version B is the one that won with 40%. That got switched and someone else edited it, I guess. Because it's very specific, 11 days. The problem with C, even though it improved upon the other one, it says get certified quickly. What does quickly mean to you? Quickly means different to everyone. Someone might see quickly and go, oh, that will be 6 months. Awesome. Well, you're underselling it. You're grossly underselling it. 11 days, that's quick. And the word quick doesn't even cover 11 days. That's like astronomically quick. And D did fine too because it's specific. It's got 2 actual benefits in the copy. So they all were better than the original. So the original, there was no benefits to that copy. It brought up questions. And so through this testing, you could actually have good tests with multiple A, B, C, D versions. You just have to make sure it's really done scientifically as if you're doing a normal split test. So the financial implications of this one, I'll just blast through these fast because it's sort of crude assumptions, but you're looking at $400,000 in revenue for making that change for that school. So the next test, does photography influence conversion rate? So this is another Cosmos school. It's a cosmetology aesthetics. This is a generic landing page from paid search. So it's not like bringing in specific traffic from a specific program name. This is their branded generic landing page. Which one who thinks A1? Here's the image of the person doing the procedure. And who thinks B1? Okay, do you have a reason why you think A1? Yeah, so someone doing the hair, you see a happy person, you see someone who's actually you see the person who's doing the job that you want to do. And version B, you put your hand up for that. Why do you think B1? Okay. And I've heard that before. People have said to me it looks more technical. It's very precise. It's nice. Now this one's a bit skewed because it's a Cosmos school, and this is why I think the results are how they were, because it came up with version A was 104% better. So having this image here got more than twice as many leads than that image. Now the argument can be made, it's a Cosmos school. So if this was a barbering school, maybe that image would have made more sense, which is very true. But one thing that I'm a big proponent of in what we call hero shots, which is the main image on a page, is you want to see the person's eyes. That's ideal. You want to see the person's eyes who you're going to be in that role. So if there's a student who's doing something, a student who's happy, whatever they are, you want to see their eyes. It's easier for you to put yourself in their shoes. And that's a big part of it. The whole point of marketing is you bring the prospective student in and you want to show them what their future could be, show them examples of it, and you want to show them something that appeals to them so they put themselves in their shoes, and then they take that step forward. So with this here, she's happy, you see her eyes, she's doing the procedure that you hopefully want to be. You want to be in that place. Here, you could put yourself in their fingers, maybe, but you can't really put yourself in that person's place. You don't see them. All you see is their fingers. And also, it is not really Cosmos specific. I did have one guy, though, when I was doing this before, who talked about he worked at a barber school, and he loved this one because he felt it was more technical and very precise. So that would possibly be a test that you want to do at a barber school, and maybe it will win. I don't have the data, so I can't say for sure, but it might win. But I still don't like the fact you don't see the person, which I think is a huge variable in improving conversion rate. So yeah, it produced 104% more leads, which ended up being for this school, if it's on their homepage of their website, it produces 100 leads a month. You're doubling your lead flow, in essence. So this school would get over $1 million more in revenue if everything else holds true. So this is another test. It's images versus contextual links. So the one on the left here is an image call to action. So this is a call to action. It's put in an image. It's in the sidebar. This call to action here is 100% contextual. It's just copy. It's no images, it's just telling you what's going to happen. So who thinks that the image call to action performed better? All right, and who thinks the contextual one did? Okay, so the people put your hands up for image. Why do you believe that?
Because it catches your eye right away. I'm not going to stop halfway through that page to read that.
Anyone else? Did anyone put their hand up for contextual? Well, in actuality, how we measured this, because it's call to actions on a page, it's already getting other leads. So we looked at it on growth in lead flow. So we had a benchmark and we saw how many more leads it produced above that benchmark. So version 8 increased the conversion rate 16% just by having that link on the website, which is excellent. It's 100 leads, is now 116. The contextual link did 31%. So 100 leads is now 131. So the contextual link made a big difference. And we really don't know the reason because we all thought this would win. I remember when this test was done, I was like, why are we wasting our time? This thing kills. It gets 16% increase. Oh, it gets 16% increase. Why would we, like, that's amazing just from having a link. It's already amazing. And then we did the test and the contextual link won. A lot of the reasons why we believe the contextual link won is it's right in the content. So people who are really engaged, who are reading content, are going to be higher quality because they're actually reading your content. It doesn't pop out at you. So to see it, you actually have to be engaged. And once they see it, they click on it because they're much more engaged. Because this one pops out, maybe people who are reading the content, who are the ones who get engaged, aren't seeing it. It's on the right-hand side. Or maybe they have, it looks like an ad to a certain extent because it's an image on the side, and we've all been programmed not to look at images on the side, like blindness. So, banner blindness, sorry. So there's a lot of reasons why it could have won. We don't know the reason, but we know for sure that that link was better. And what we learned earlier, you don't want to put the link on twice and have the same call to action because we learned that that hurts conversion rate. So we stick with that one now going forward. So that's the best practice. So for this one, it's, again, these financial implications, they prove a point, but sort of like a crude tool because in a real world, everything doesn't stay exactly the same. When you get more leads, your enrollment rate might drop or for just so many variables. But using the crude calculation, you're looking at about $300,000 in extra revenue. So here's another one. Are you ready versus not sure? So it's two call to actions. One of them says, are you ready for crew train? And the other one is, are you not sure for crew train? Who thinks A1? Oh, a lot of people this time. Who thinks B1? Okay, so why do people think A1?
It seems more positive.
It's more positive. Are you ready? And no one, did anyone say B at all? All right. So this is an interesting one for a number of reasons. First off, yeah, B1. So the not sure actually won, which is a negative term, right? Like I thought exactly what you thought. Not sure. Why did not sure win? It should be the positive thing one. It actually killed over the other one. We did two different tests to prove this one out. 78% plus 100%, both with a 100% degree of confidence. So there's no question that B outperformed A. So, that's an interesting thing. It goes against what people think, but that makes us think differently. Now let's look into this further. Like, why did it do better? Now, does anyone notice anything weird about this test? Is there anything anyone sees that could lead to that? Is it really an A/B test? Because what we're looking at here, and this is a mistake a lot of people make. See the button you're supposed to click? That had a different call to action in the button. So in actuality, this was not a true A/B test because these weren't two identical pages. So this test actually means nothing. It's a waste of time. Because we learned that, I guess it's not a waste of time. We learned in conjunction with two changes it outperforms. Because it wasn't just as crew training ready, they changed the button. And that probably was either an oversight, because I don't think anyone would have purposely done that, or maybe there was something they were looking at it. We don't know why, but that the button was left maybe as a mistake, maybe whatever reason it was, all that matters is the data we got from it. And the data ends up being that these two changes together improve conversion rate, but we don't know actually, was it this or was it this that improved conversion rate? Was it take the quiz now being better than get started now because it's specific, it's telling you what's going to happen? Take the quiz now is way more informative than get started now, because get started means nothing. Get started where? When? Like, what are you talking about? Take the quiz now actually has value. So could it be that? We don't know. So at the end of the day, having a test where you don't have a true split test, it's hard to draw the same conclusion, because you need to have everything else be identical, or else it's not a true split test. So here's one more test. Just looking at the time here. One more test, and so this test here is these two, I think I have two more tests, sorry. This test here, we actually have identical pages again. The one difference is this link was brought up. So from down below, we brought a link up that landed right here. So everything else is the same, and there's this link here that has it's a call to action with book a tour and get more info included just under there. So who thinks A outperformed? Who thinks B won? Okay, and why do you think B won?
Because that, people are gonna click on that.
You brought up something actionable, right?
It's something little to do.
So it did win. B won with a 43.95% improvement. We got 99% degree confidence, so that's pretty good. So at the end of this, again, it's $400,000 in revenue. So for exactly what you said, you brought up call to actions. So when you're looking at this page here, even though it's got strong content and it's great value, you got start dates, which draws people's attention. And the whole idea of this was put the links and call to actions under the start dates, because that's where people go to, start dates, and then they'll be right there below that. But there's nothing engaging them here. So there's going to be a contact form, which we cut out on the side. Every page has a contact form, and every page on every site should have a contact form. But those are things that are equal there. So there's no other additional call to actions. And that's why this works, because as we learned earlier, the same call to action twice is detrimental. When you have a contact form, it has a call to action with a low level of commitment. Book a tour is a higher level of commitment. You're asking a different call to action, so it actually increases conversion rate because you're capturing people in different stages of the buying process. You're not just capturing that one early stage. Get more information is similar to the normal contact form, a low commitment call to action, but I really believe that the book a tour now is what drove this, because those people who are ready to book a tour are beyond filling out a basic contact form sometimes. They've done the research. They don't want to start from scratch. I don't have that basic question. I'm ready to move forward, and I'm a millennial, so I'm not going to pick up a phone. So I got to contact you some way. And so giving them that specific call to action increases conversion rate rather than having just low commitment call to actions. So here's another interesting test we did. Again, these are two pages that are identical, except for we took the accreditations and brought them up. So instead of going straight into like the program, so it's a home page with programs, and it has like listing the programs below. The accreditations were brought up from the bottom, put there before the programs. So who thinks A1 without the accreditations up higher? Who thinks B1? Okay, why do you think B1?
No idea.
Oh, you said you thought B1, right?
Yeah,
David?
just the accreditation.
So you're showing your accreditations up.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's trust.
It's been validated.
Yeah, validation, yeah, exactly.
Program.
And so, anyone else have a reason why I think B1? The same thing? Validate, yeah. So this is a really interesting one, because we had to do this test 3 times. The first time, yeah, B1, modestly with 33%, but we never got to 95% confidence. 92 is the highest we got. So we did a second test. The second test, the variation won again, B, barely won by 3%, and we never got above 68% confidence, so it didn't win. When you are below 95, there's no winning. So the 2 tests were inconclusive. The third test, the control won this time. The change actually was detrimental. Again, the degree of confidence is 3%. So all these tests were inconclusive. So we just wasted our time doing this test, right? Like, might as well, that's like hours of someone's time we just throw away because it's a huge waste. But in actuality, you learn from every test. If you run a split test and it's the control wins, so you run a split test and what you originally had won, you learn something. You learn what you had was better than what you were going to do. That's why I always tell people, like, the scariest thing in a school is an owner or a boss or whatever, director of marketing, who says, I want this changed onto the website. I want this color. I want this picture. And what you always have to say back to them is why. And if they say because I like it, who cares? Do you have any data to prove that that will do better? If they don't, let's test it. Test every change you make on your website before you do it. Because this test was a no-brainer. Like, no one believed that version A would beat version B. But if you just did the change without split testing it, it could have detrimental effects on your conversion rate. So you run this test, you learn it doesn't win. That's great. Now we're not going to make that change. We're not going to lose leads. We've just saved ourselves a ton of money. And if the test, I don't know how many times I've had clients come to us and say, I want this change to our website. And I love that. I love when clients are proactive. I've read this here, I've seen this here, let's make this change. And my answer every time is, that's awesome, let's test it. We won't make a change just because a client says, hey, I want this blue instead of red. That's great. We'll do the test first. And if it wins, you get that blue. If it doesn't win, we're not making that change. And it's just how it is. You have to sort of protect the schools from themselves a bit. Because I've seen people come in, I just watched this podcast or I watched a webinar or whatever, and they told me to do this and I want to make this change now. Well, let's test it first, because you always want to test things before you make any change, because you don't know the other people who are telling you to do this. You don't know how good their tests were. You don't know where they tested them, what type of school. Always test it yourself first. If it proves out, that's awesome. Now you could do with a lot of confidence, take a step forward. If the test is inconclusive like the last one, well, you learn that that change is not consequential. So that change either doesn't hurt enough or doesn't help enough to draw a conclusion, but you don't make that change. You have to have a winning test before you make that change. So what I would do is I look at that other one and make a change to that and do a new test with an augmentation, maybe trying to highlight those better, or maybe moving them in a different way, or whatever you're doing, make a little bit of a change and try again. And keep trying until you can improve that number. And inconclusive tests you always learn from. So we learned that that's inconclusive. That should go in your documentation book. That should go in your best practice manual, whatever you have, knowledge base, that we learned this thing happened. The next test we want to do stemming from that will be XYZ, because we want to learn if we could make that change actually impactful. And of course, if the variation wins, so the one you tested wins, implement it. It becomes your best practice. And then that's now your best practice, and you get on to your next test. We want to get the next one going so we can see if we can beat that variation. Never stand still. You always are testing again. You're always improving. If you just are happy with how things are, you get behind. Within a year, it's not going to be as optimized as it was a year ago. 2 years, it's like a decade nowadays in the internet age. 3-4 years, like you've seen websites that you haven't updated in 3 or 4 years, they look old. You can tell that. And it's not just they look old, it's they don't perform the same way, because people are changing. The students that came through 4 years ago are all new people. They're completely different than the students from 4 years before that, and it's getting faster and faster. So you always have to test to stay ahead of that, because if you stand still, then conversion rates start to drop. And when conversion rates start to drop, that's when people panic and they spend more money and they do this and that, and when you could have been on top of it by testing and not having the conversion rates drop and not seeing your lead flow decline. So with testing, like I think I've beat this like a dead horse, but yeah, it's the only way to know if a change is worth it. Like any change at all. This doesn't have to be just on a website. This could be in admissions. I'm going to change my admissions scripts. I'm going to change what people are doing on phone messages. I'm going to change the admissions sequence. I'm going to change when we call, when we text. All that stuff, test it. Because if you have a CRM that allows you to see your data quickly, well, then you could set it up. You could set up a test. Split tests don't have to be A/B. You could do a test for 2 weeks and then do another test for 2 weeks. It's all about having enough sample size. So if you have, within admissions, you could just make whatever change you're making, test that, see did the enrollment rate go up, or maybe that's not the measure of success. Maybe you're trying to book more appointments or more interviews, and that's the measure of success. Whatever it is, you set out to make a change within your admissions process, and then let's see the numbers. And did it perform better? Yes, now we're doing that as our best practice in admissions. And it's, like I said, it could go through every part of admissions, all written communication, every email that goes out, every automated thing that goes out, every text you send, every voice message, your scripts on your phone calls. Every part of admissions can be tested. As we saw, small changes, huge financial implications. Like there's some crazy little things that I've seen that have really blown up and improved conversion rates, stuff like exclamation marks. We've seen massive increases in conversion rates by adding an exclamation mark at the end of a call to action on a button. The term now, amazing. now adds just, it's a little bit more to it, you know, like get info is great. I wouldn't mind getting info, but get info now is just like, it just gives it a little extra push. You could apply your learnings to traditional media too. So if you learn certain images work better on paid search or website, maybe they'll also work better in print media. Maybe they'll work better inside your school. That's a big one that people really neglect, is the imagery and the messaging inside your school. When the students in there, sitting down in the waiting room, when you go through the tour and you're taking them to all the hot spots on the tour, you could use conversion optimization in that part as well. See, like, have your tour, and hopefully all of your tours are the same every time and they don't deviate. Everyone gets exactly the same tour when they come into your school. So if you have that in place, you have the tour, get your average application rate from a tour, which whatever it is for you, or maybe even go straight to start rate from tour, and then you make one change to your tour and test that and see, does your start rate go up? Does your application rate go up? And if you're not testing, you have to be. Like, there's no question. It's hard to test on your own because sample size is a big thing, so some schools don't have enough traffic for sample sizes, but it just takes time. It just means the test will have to run longer until you have enough data to say it's conclusive. And there's a lot of software out there that will help you with the testing. I just named a few here. Visual Website Optimizer and Optimizely are programs that you pay them like a monthly fee and they do the whole test for you. You just tell them what you want and it does it all and calculates everything, so it's great. These other three are more for recording, Full Story, Hotjar, and Crazy Egg, where you could record people actually on your website and see what they're doing and stuff like that. There are some good tools for just helping understand better. And anyone who wants, I can send this to you after, so you don't have to write everything down. But anything where you learn more about what's happening, the user behavior, is awesome. So now that you've all passed testing 101, we have the final exam. And for this final exam, you have a chance to win one of these beautiful pairs of glasses I'm wearing. It's anti-blue light glasses, so they cut out the blue light. If you use a computer screen a lot, it stops you from getting headaches and eye fatigue. It also is great for fluorescent lighting, just cuts that out really good. If you put them on, you can see a little bit of a difference. They're about $50 in value. So whoever guesses this correctly, and just yell out because this is going to be difficult to do in any other way, gets the glasses. So my question is, how many conversion elements do you believe are on this landing page? So looking at it, just throw out numbers. How many elements do you think we have optimized on this page? And the first one to get it wins. So, sorry? 10. Okay. Anyone? Who win some glasses? 7. Anyone else? You don't have anything to lose. Throw a number out. You can give the glasses to someone who might like it. Sorry?
Just throw a number in 22.
22.
Minus 15.
12. Okay. So no one got it right on, but we got really close. So if anyone last second to get a number in?
10.
Okay, it's actually 13. So 12? That's great, because I brought 2 for that occasion. So you each get one. I'll give them to you after. And so, yeah, 13 elements just on this page have been optimized for conversion. So I was actually part of a split testing committee for a bunch of these. And there's some things that are just crazy, like you would never think would improve conversion. The one that blows my mind is here. It's hard to see. This is the privacy policy. So we tested 4 different privacy policies. We tested one that stated the full privacy policy right there. We tested one that was just a link. It's just a lock for privacy policy that some people understand as being privacy policy. We tested one that had no privacy policy. And we tested this one here, which if you click it, it takes you to a privacy policy page. So it's a link going to a privacy policy. This one outperformed all the other 3 by a long shot. And it actually improved conversion rate significantly. And you might think that's such a small thing, like privacy policy, but I guess people care. And people care enough that they want to know you have a privacy policy. But if you state your privacy policy there, it's a scary thing. Because they're like, what, people could be selling my information? What, you could be sharing this? Like, some people don't have that in their mind. So we found sharing the full privacy policy there was detrimental, because the people who don't care about that were just scared off now. The people who care about privacy policy, they could click it and get to it. So they got the information they wanted. So we found out of the other 3 versions, that one actually helped improve conversion rate the most. The other one, which I alluded to earlier, was get info now. Like when we were testing the best button, we tested dozens of ways of considering a button. What we found was get info was the winner, and it was probably a winner for about a year. And then we put now behind it. It adds urgency. Get info now. All of a sudden you have a higher converting one, and that was probably about 6 months. It was our best practice. And then I remember testing the play button, like the sideways triangle, testing all these different things. When we put it to the exclamation mark, that was the golden one. And that's been our best practice for about 3 years now, and we haven't been able to beat that. So it's such a simple thing, an exclamation mark. But that type of stuff really makes differences. Other things is the color there, that red color. You want the color of your call to actions to be a contrasting color to the website. If you can. Sorry, you have a question?
What is written there? 13, number 13. Yeah.
Oh, that's his privacy policy.
Only privacy?
There's a link to the privacy policy page up.
Enlarge it or no?
Sorry, no, I don't think I can enlarge on this. Yeah. So the colors of call to actions. This school has a blue website color scheme, and you notice everything we want them to do is red. The phone numbers are red. The call to action, the button you actually click is red, because it should be a contrasting color, because that way it stands out. If your call to actions are the same color as your website, they don't stand out. People might see them, but they're not going to be like right there. Now the thing that's interesting though, and this is something that we've proven out, and also I used to work at Amazon, and in our split testing we proved this out, was that the red and orange are actionable colors. They just are. And naturally, red and orange cause people to take actions. Amazon actually learned that I was working there in 2008-9, and they had that in the knowledge base, and they're like the ones who really innovated that. So you want contrasting colors, but red and orange are the most actionable. So what we come across sometimes is a school that's a color scheme is red or orange. Well, in that case, we don't want to use red and orange as a call to actions, because it will get lost in the color scheme. So those are the only cases where you do purple or something else. But it really does work. You contrast the color to your color scheme. More people see the call to actions. More people engage with them. And increases conversion rate. Other ones on here are interesting. The I want answers. Like I don't know how many call to actions we tested there. Get info now. Get info kit. Contact us. All those type of things. What we found is you have to tell them what's going to happen. So if your call to action on your website is contact us, that's the worst call to action in the world. Because you're not telling them what's going to happen when they contact you. Just contact us. Well, that's not exciting, first off. Why am I contacting you? Tell me why I'm contacting you. Well, I want answers. Yeah, I do want answers. I'll contact you because I want these answers. And you have the 3 most frequently asked questions right there. And one of those is my pain point. So I'm going to click that and contact you. If you could have other very strong call to actions. In the olden days, I'm talking 7, 8 years ago, it used to be like get info kit, right? Because everyone used to do the info kit. You might even have a picture of your info kit there. But that told you what was going to happen. I'm doing this to get an info kit. So you tell them what's going to happen. Don't be vague. The worst thing in the world too is a submit button that says submit. That is such a lost opportunity. Because again, you're not giving them any value. It says submit. It's like, great. Tell them something. You're going to get this info now. Like, get them excited about it. So that's the main thing about like contact forms and call to actions is people need to take advantage of those call to actions you might not even know are call to actions. Use actionable words. Tell people what's going to happen. Tell them why. Here's the benefit of filling out this contact form. You're getting this information that you want. And we also, making it first person, we don't know why. Maybe people take ownership better. Maybe they think you're speaking to them, but making a first-person call to action, which is a sort of out-of-the-box thing for its time when we came across that. And it won. Like I was surprised at that too. I want answers perform better than get answers or get the answers you need or stuff. We've tried all these different ones, and I want answers. The first person, I take ownership of this because I do want answers. You got me. And a few other of these here is just basic stuff like having a little bit of information below the hero shot. This here is just the type of hero shot you're using. This here is the phone numbers being in contrasting color. The headline, you want benefit-driven headlines. I think I talked about this earlier. I was talking about benefits and features in your headlines. You don't want your headline just to be, this is school name, this is program name. Like that is a huge lost opportunity. If your headline of your website is your school name and it's big, They know who you are. That's wasted space. You want that to be that's prime real estate. Put benefits and features in there. Tell them why you want to go to school, not who you are. So this here, get the skills to be a medical, billing, and coding professional. It tells you what's going to happen. You're going to get the skills to do this. I'm not guaranteeing employment, so it's not non-compliant. I'm not telling them anything that's not going to happen. I'm telling you, get the skills. Because that's exactly what you want to do. And then here we have, in the subheadline, hands-on, like health claims clerk and medical coding training, but hands-on, a benefit right there. Bam, hit them with benefits. And if you can, like if you could layer benefits in, that's even better. 3 or 2 benefits within a copy just adds value, adds more value. And that's the whole point of this is you need to show them a perceived value that's higher than the cost. So at this point, like when you're making a sale where there's money involved, the perceived value has to increase higher than the cost of the product for them to buy it. At this point, the sale you want to make is they need to get this info. The perceived value of the info they're going to get or the answers they're going to get has to be higher than the cost of them filling out a contact form. Filling out a contact form costs them this. So you just got to give them enough value so it's above that and they're filling out the contact form. You made your first sale. And then the second sale, of course, is getting them coming for a tour. And then the third one is actually becoming a student. So this is the way you create value, benefits and features. And we have a process that we go through called a fab sheet, which we look at the feature, benefit, advantage, and the feeling it gives on. And if you think about all of that, then you can write copy that works feelings in, which is even more powerful. That's what we use in like the main body copy, which is too small to see. But if you have like a feature is hands-on training, the benefit of that is, well, it's better training. You know, you can learn better. The advantage of that is that you're more equipped to have a better job in the future because you've got better training. And the feeling I get is empowerment, or maybe I feel more confident. And then take all those and work it into one sentence, and you could have a very powerful sentence that explains to them why they want to go to your school, but then even goes further as saying, like, here's the feeling it gives you. And that's how you make copy that really resonates. You got to focus on those things. So these are a few more elements for like mobile, where we have a docking call to action, and then again, we're just looking at the same sort of copy. So it does apply to everything, and that's the one thing I didn't mention earlier. All the tests we did were for desktop. Because mobile is a completely different world. Split test on mobile is 100% different, but you still got to do it. And nowadays, the average school gets about 60% of traffic from mobile traffic. So you're looking at that being more important in a way, but the lead flow is still skewed. Leads come more from desktop generally than mobile, at least at a higher rate for most schools. So but over time, the optimization of mobile will get better and better, and you'll see the conversion rate come up probably beyond desktop traffic. So yeah, does anyone have any questions?
Hey, Sterling, you mentioned call to action, like when you put it on two spots on the same page. What about when we're doing live web design for the college, the programmer suggested that the call to action on like about 6 pages on each page. But I said, no, just put it on one, for the same reason, I feel a little desperate, we know it's there. So my question is, do you know, or can you comment on putting that call to action to, get more information, putting it on once, but on multi-page?
Yeah, you want the call to action on every page.
Okay.
So every single page has to be there, because the people, your home page will get a good amount of leads, but people aren't sold yet often from the home page. They click on a program page, they read about the program. Okay, now I like this. Okay, now I'm ready to take a step forward. You want the right there. And ideally, you want it on the right-hand side, because the person will be reading left to right, and they finish what they're reading, and they're happy and impressed and want to take a step forward, and right there's a call to action. So you actually could create content that leads into your call to actions. So things that you highlight they'll walk right into it. And if you notice on like all the pages that we showed, every call to action is on the right-hand side, because that's where people look for them. That's where they expect it. Phone numbers could be on the left-hand side, especially in the top. Phone number left-hand side, you can have a call to action on the right in the top, and call to actions down here on the right. But you want to make sure at least it's replicated on every page. And there's no problem having multiple call to actions as long as they're different. So if you are looking at having 2 call to actions, just make the second one a different level of commitment or different offer. And then that's how you increase lead flow. You just don't want it to be just the same thing again, because that's desperate. Anyone else have any questions? All right, awesome. Well, thank you guys.